When you sit down to plan out your week, are you feeling excited or overwhelmed? Because if part of you feels overwhelmed and unsure where to start, I want to give you a simple 10-step routine that you can copy today that will help you get this important routine in place as soon as possible. Having a solid plan for the week doesn't necessarily mean that your week will run perfectly and smoothly all the time, but it will help you feel more prepared, more confident about what needs to be done, and where your time needs to be spent. It can also help reduce the stress of just trying to keep up with everything because you will have a plan built ahead of time. You're going to know what is supposed to happen, when it's supposed to happen, the order it's supposed to happen, and what you can look forward to. Are you ready to stop the chaos, the stress, the overwhelm that's filling your life? I'm Renae Matt, and together you and I are going to build simple routines that are going to change your life. When you put these habits into practice, you're going to be able to organize your life in a way where you can be there for your family, pay off your debt, save money, your house can stay organized, you don't have to stress about what's for dinner, and you still get time for yourself. So without further ado, let's get started. Welcome to the Routine Advantage Podcast. If you have not already put a routine in place to sit down ahead of time and plan out the week ahead, I hope that you listen to this episode and you take the time to sit down and do it because it can be life changing. When you are being intentional about the time that you have coming up, it can make a big difference in so many areas. Not only is it going to give you some mental relief knowing what is expected, but it also just helps you to know what needs to be prioritized and what you need to plan for rather than just trying to keep up as things are happening. We want to be intentional with our time, we want to feel prepared, and we want to know what is going to happen, not just constantly reacting as things happen because that can feel really stressful if we're always reacting instead of being proactive. So, this is going to be a total game changer. And even if you already sit down and plan the week ahead, maybe you'll find some nuggets of information in here that it's like, oh, I could adjust that, or this could be helpful if I switch a couple of things. So I'm hoping that no matter where you are on the spectrum of weekly planning, that this episode will help you and that you'll find some good information in here. So, what we're going to do is we're going to go through 10 steps. Now, these are steps that I would recommend. I pretty much do this process pretty closely every time I sit down to follow my plan, but I just kind of go into it and I know how my brain works and what I have responsibilities, like the responsibilities I have on my plate. So when I sit down to do my weekly planning, it might look a little bit different than what you would sit down and do, but this is going to give you a good starting point, and then you can tweak it and adjust it from there and just make it work for you and what works best for your life. And when you're sitting down to do a weekly planning session, you can do it multiple ways. You can do it all on a digital calendar. You can just take a scratch piece of paper and just jot it all down. You can do it in a paper planner. I do this process in my paper planner. I use the Horatio printing Dream Planner. I absolutely love it. And they actually are just coming out. They just released their 2026 planners recently. So you can go to HoratioPrinting.com and use code Renae15 and you'll get 15% off of all of their planners. You can pick whichever one you like best, but I absolutely love the black leather vertical layout. They do have a horizontal layout or a vertical layout. I absolutely love the vertical layout just because that works really well with my day stacks and planning that way. We will also have a link in the show notes if you want to go check out the planner, see if it might be something that you would enjoy. You can also find that at reneematt.com/resources. I will have a link in there for you as well. So when you are looking at doing this weekly plan, like I said, I use my paper planner, but you don't have to. When I do it in my planner, I use the weekly layout section or like the weekly layout page, and everything we go through on all of these steps are going to all be contained within this one page layout. So my entire week, I have my whole plan in front of me outside of the actual meals, but you could certainly put that on here. Um, all of everything is on this one page. So if you don't have a planner or you don't want to use a planner, you can definitely do this on a piece of paper and just have a piece of paper that you use every week and just jot down your plan. The benefit of it is just making sure it all comes out of your head, gets onto paper, and you can very visually see everything that you have going on. You can adjust as needed and you can prioritize. And then when you get done, you should feel really satisfied that you have a solid plan for the week. And then it's like a whole weight is lifted off your chest and you can just take a deep breath and be like, okay, I've got this. I'm prepared. I know what's happening. I know what to expect. If things go awry, like that's just life. Things might not go perfectly and are expected to not go perfectly because nothing is perfect. But when you have a plan, it's much easier to pivot and adjust things when they do come up rather than just living life by the coattails. Like you don't want to just constantly be trying to keep up. You really want to have a plan in place. And then when something comes up that is really unexpected, it's much easier to pivot and it's less stressful as well. So I really want you to feel like that relief of being more prepared than just being overwhelmed by everything that's happening. So let's go through the 10 simple steps that you can do to have a weekly planning routine to help you stay organized. Okay, number one, you want to review your schedule for the week. You really want to get the full picture of what is happening. So, this is a really great time to make sure that you understand what it is that needs to be on your calendar if it's not already. Hopefully, everything was already plugged into your calendar and you can just take a quick review of everything that's going on, but you really want to know like what days you're working. If you have different shifts, make sure those are plugged in and your whole schedule is in there. Make sure you have any activities or events or appointments or meetings that you need to be at, all of those things are plugged into your calendar because you want to make sure that your schedule is as complete as possible when you sit down to do this. Step number two is to make sure that nothing is double booked. So, as you're reviewing everything, this is a great time to make sure that everything is stacked in an order that flows well. So, if you need to go to an event or an appointment or something like that, and it starts at 5 p.m., you want to make sure that you don't have things backed up all the way to 5 p.m. because you're going to end up being late for the 5 p.m. appointment or the 5 p.m. event because you didn't book any travel time or any sort of cushion in there. So, this is where you really want to just take a look at the week. You need to adjust things. If you need to adjust things, this is a good time to do it. Give yourself some travel time, give yourself some break time. You don't want to be constantly go, 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 but this is just a really good time to make sure nothing is double booked and that you have space between everything that's going on that is needed. And if it's not there, this is a good time to make sure that you reprioritize and figure out what is actually most important. If something has to go, you need to let it go. So this is the first step in your planning process is your whole schedule and just making sure it's all going to flow well. And not only are you doing the cushion time with travel, things like that, but this is also when you want to make sure that you are plugging in any time for fun or relaxation or family time or date nights or personal priorities, anything that is a personal priority, you want to make sure that you are blocking that time off in your calendar because when you have it blocked off, not only is it going to be easier to stick to it and actually get that accomplished if that is an important part of your life, but it's also going to give you some more confidence to decline some invitations or to say no to other things if you don't actually prioritize those. If you want to say yes to those, absolutely go say yes to those. I'm not telling you you can't add other things to your schedule. But if you are somebody that is maybe a little bit of a people pleaser and you can't say no to people very well, and you just feel obligated to always say yes if there is a free spot on your calendar, this is a good time to plug some things in that are important to you and your family that will give you that excuse, not that you need an excuse, but it'll give you some more confidence to say, nope, we've already got plans that night. We need to say no to that. So that's just something to keep in mind at this time as you are looking at your schedule and making sure everything is plugged in and it feels complete. Now, that doesn't mean that you don't have any gaps within your week, because now we're going to go through making sure that our routines are plugged in. If you have been around, you know that we talk about 5 foundational routines. These 5 foundational routines, when you get them plugged in and in place, they are going to make a huge difference in making you feel organized and ready for everything that life has to throw at you. And you can build on these routines, but I feel like these are the 5 base ones that everybody needs to have in their life. And so now we're going to actually go through step by step and making sure those are plugged in. And I'm going to kind of give you a little bit of information on how to make sure they're plugged in, or what you're really looking at when you're scheduling this in. So the step number 3 in this 10-step routine is to determine when you will do your morning routine each morning. Now, depending on your schedule and how busy everything looks, you're going to have to determine what time you want to get up. So, there are going to be some mornings where you can do your full morning routine, whether that is a 20-minute routine, maybe it's an hour routine, maybe you have a 2-hour morning routine. There are going to be mornings where you can do your full routine. But more than likely, you're going to have other mornings that are going to be a little bit fuller, and you might have to decide to cut that morning routine a little bit short if you want to make sure that you are getting the sleep that you need and still taking time for your morning routine. So instead of skipping your morning routine completely, just cut it down and do the priorities in that morning routine. So that is step 3, is making sure that you have your morning routines plugged in. So go ahead, plug them in, and figure out how long you want to dedicate for your morning routine each of the mornings throughout your week. So go ahead and plug them in. And as you are plugging these routines in, you may find that you need to restack other things. And that's okay. Just go through as you do this process. It'll get smoother and smoother over time, and you'll start to realize what works best for you, but we have to start somewhere. So then we go to step number 4, and this is when you decide when you will be completing your meal planning routine. Now, your meal planning routine is a few different things, and you can decide if you want to plug them as individual tasks and throughout the week, or if you want to block a good chunk of time to do it all at once. This is going to depend on what works best for you. But what you're looking at here is, when are you going to plan your meal plan? So, we're going to plan ahead our weekly meal plan, so then we don't have to stress about what's for dinner, what we need to have for snacks. We only have to do one grocery shopping trip, and everything is set for the week. So we're making sure that this planning process includes preparing for our meal plan so that we feel really solid in going into our next week. So, you want to make sure you have time plugged in on when you're going to plan your meals, when you are going to shop for your groceries, and when you're going to get home and have the time to prep the produce when you get home before it goes in the fridge, because that's going to make life easier as well. So you want to look at this and say, when is it going to work best in my week to do these things? Do I need to plan my meal plan one time and then plan another time to do the grocery shopping and the prep? Or do I want to just take a bigger chunk of time and do it all together? So look at your weekly plan and decide what works best for you here. And another thing to note is that when you are doing this meal plan, you are also looking at your schedule ahead of time, because this is a great time to know if you are having a really busy night. then ahead of time, you're going to know that that's probably a great night to either have leftovers or have a meal that gets put in the crock pot in the morning so you can just come home and the meal is already ready to go. Maybe it's a freezer meal that you've already prepped it ahead of time. You can just pop it out of the freezer and throw it into the oven. Something like that. Like you can plan those things ahead of time because you are prepared ahead of time. Where if you are really busy and you're coming home and nothing's prepared or planned for the evening for dinner and you still have stuff in the freezer that needs to be thawed and all of a sudden you have to try and figure out what's for dinner, like that's stressful. So you're taking care of all of that ahead of time and it feels so good to know that you are preparing this way. So then once you're done planning your meal planning routine and plugging the time in for that on your schedule, now you're going to step 5, which is going to be plugging in your time blocks for your daily 7 home routine. Now, your daily 7 home routine, if you are new to the podcast, you're going to want to go back and look for these different routines. But the daily 7 home routine is a simple it's taking 7 priority tasks that are important to you to reset your home in 30 minutes or less, and you build them into a routine that is consistently repeated in the same order as quickly as you possibly can complete it. And that's just going to help you very quickly reset your home each day so you have a good starting point before any other tasks or deep cleaning or anything else is done. And that is what helps keep your home tidy and maintained so that you always feel like it is company ready and you don't have to stress if somebody, texts you and says they're in the area, can they stop by for coffee or anything like that. You can just respond and smile and say, "Yeah, come on over." And it is just a really good feeling to be able to have this very simple routine that keeps you organized in a way that helps you keep your home maintained. So when you are plugging this in, you're just looking for probably a 30-minute time block because you don't need more than 30 minutes for this routine. But you might even have less. But let's plug in 30 minutes and you want to plug it in daily if you can. If you can't do it every day, that's going to be okay. There are definitely days where I do not do mine because like life happens or schedules get shifted because that's just that's just nature. That's naturally what happens. So if you can plug it in every day, that is a good start. And then if you end up needing to skip a day, you're going to be okay. And then the next day, it might just take a little bit longer. But really, we're trying to do it every day so that it doesn't build up. And because if we can keep it done every day, it's going to be a quicker routine because things don't build up as quickly if we can keep on top of those. So you're plugging in a 30-minute time block daily if you can for your daily 7 home routine. So this can be the same time every day. You can, say you want to do it at 10 a.m. every single day, or you want to do it at 8 a.m. when you get up. Maybe you want to do it at 4 p.m. Maybe you want to do it at all different times of the day because your schedule is different every day. So you need to go and plug in, when does this 30-minute time block to reset my home work best? Maybe it's in the afternoon on Monday, and maybe it's in the mornings on the rest of the week, or whatever works for you. You just want to go ahead and plug it in when it works best for you. And then you're going to move to step 6, and this is your movement routine. You want to plug in time for your movement. So this is movement, exercise, anything like that. So this could be a morning walk, it could be gym time, it could be a home workout. How many times a week are you wanting to get movement or exercise in? Go ahead and plug that into your calendar. Again, you are prioritizing these things. So if something needs to be restacked throughout your week, go ahead and take the time to restack it to make sure these things are plugged in. So, if you need to combine your morning walk with your morning routine, that's totally okay. You can definitely combine those things and get them both done at the same time and make your morning walk part of your morning routine. That is absolutely something that you can do. And that is something that I do as well. So, I always take a morning walk with our dog and that is part of my morning routine. So you have to decide what works best for you. If you want to do the walk or if you want to actually get like a home workout or a gym workout or something like that in addition to a walk, then you need to decide When are you going to do it? How much time do you want to dedicate it to it? How many times a week do you want to be doing that? And just go ahead and plug it in, because if it's not in the calendar, it's probably not going to get done. So you want to go ahead and plug that in this step. Then we're moving to step 7, and we're going to do your budget routine. So, this is when you really want to, whether or not you're a budgeter, if you don't already budget, you can still plug your budget routine in, because you need to be aware of your finances. So, you need to plug in, when are you going to review your expenses to make sure everything is aligning and flowing well in your bank account, in your bank statements, in your credit card statements, whatever you're using, you should review those. So plug in time of when you are dedicating time to review your expenses. Plug in a time if you need to be checking in with your spouse. If you're married, when are you having a quick conversation on finances and where you're at, what your goals are, where you're at with your goals, things like that. It can be a really quick check-in. We do a Friday budget chat where we update everything on Friday and have kind of a conversation of where we're at, where we're at with our goals, what we're doing with the money going forward, what we need for the week ahead, all of that. And it can be done very, very quickly. It is a very quick budget chat just to make sure you're on the same page, because you're a team in this and you want to make sure that you both know what's going on. You also want to know when you're going to pay the bills, any upcoming bills that you have. So this is a good time if you have one, block of time plugged into your week on the day that works best for you to sit down, make sure all of your expenses are clearing out, everything is aligned, any money is moved to savings accounts if you need to be doing that. All of your upcoming bills are getting paid. All of those things can be done, and then you're set to go for the week ahead. You want to make sure that you have a time plugged in to take care of all that. And then you move to step 8, which is choosing 2 to 3 priority tasks. So the 5 foundational to routines that we just went through are your foundations. That is your morning routine, your meal planning routine, your daily 7 home routine, your movement routine, and your budget routine. But now, in addition to these things that need to be done, a lot of us have a really long to-do list, and we have all these other things in our homes that we want to be getting done, whether it is, shampooing the carpets or washing the curtains and the drapes or deep cleaning the bathroom or um, waxing the floors or cleaning out the front porch or deep cleaning the basement and getting all the cobwebs out of there. Like, whatever those additional tasks are, we put them on something called an annual task list. But if you don't have that right now, it's okay. But this is where you're going to choose just 2 to 3 priority tasks that are needing to be done outside of what is on your weekly plan right now, because we don't want to overload ourselves. If you end up doing more, you absolutely can, but we're going to start with just 2 to 3. If you want to have a list of all of your hopeful and wishful things that you want to do, go ahead and plug them in and just kind of plop them behind your weekly plan. You're really just taking 2 to 3 of those from the list. Like, these are my highest priority. These are the ones that I really want to get done that have to be done this week. Those are going to be your focus, because we have a whole lot going on here. So if we can just pare it down to 2 to 3 priorities, we're going to be much more likely to actually get those done. And then if we have some more time and we want to tackle some more things on that list, then you can go ahead and choose, 1 or 2 more to focus on and work your way through it. But for now, you're only picking 2 to 3 of those priority tasks. So go ahead and plug them in. Now you can put them on the side and just kind of have those on the side so that when you have some free time, you can tackle those, or you can actually plug them somewhere in your calendar in a time block that works best. So you can decide what works best for you there. And then we're going to go to number 9, and this is to determine your next week's planning time. So, just like you sat down to plan for the week ahead, now in the week you're planning, you need to decide, when is it going to work best for you to sit down and do this again for the following week. And so, this will be a rotating thing that you will want to know when you're going to have time to plan for the week ahead. A lot of people do this on like a Sunday night, but I actually prefer to do it on a Friday morning, because then I know ahead of time before I go into my weekend that my next week is already prepped and prepared for, and I can go into my weekend feeling really good and I don't have to any stress going into my weekend because I know I'm ready to start Monday morning without having to deal with any of the planning process over the weekend. So, you're going to have to decide what works best for you, but I love Friday mornings to do this. And then step number 10 is to just complete a final review. Look over your week, look over your whole plan. Is anything missing? Do you need to shift anything around? Do you need to cut out some things? Do you need to add some things? You just want to do a final review and just make sure you're feeling really good about the week. Even if it's a busy week, we want you to feel really good going into it. And if it's not a busy week, then we still want you feel good going into it because you've got a little more free time to spare. And what are you going to do with that free time? Like you can build your life the way that you want to build it, and this is what is going to help you do that is making sure that you sit down and plan out your week ahead of time. So that was a lot of information. I'm going to go back through and recap those 10 steps for you, but I just want to encourage you that even if you don't go through all of these 10 steps, just sitting down and planning out your week and getting some semblance of structure is going to help you a ton. And if you're not sure where to start, and maybe planning is not your thing, you like really don't want to sit down and plan it out, I would encourage you to still go through and at least put your 5 foundational routines in place. Make sure you are plugging those into your life because those are going to make you feel so much better. So, again, that is making sure you have a morning routine in place, a meal planning routine, a daily 7 home routine, a movement routine, and a budget routine. And you can go back and listen to all of our previous episodes or pick and choose, but the beginning episodes are really going to walk you through what those are and help you get yours into place. You can also go to my website at reneematt.com, and I have a bunch of resources in there that are going to help you figure out how to actually build each of these 5 routines, including a course that is coming up that you can add yourself to the wait list if you want to get information on when that releases and the beta pricing as well. So that is something that you can go through and do, even if this 10-step planning routine is a little too much for you. But I would encourage you to sit down and try this. It might take you a lot longer to do it the first few times you do it, but once you get in the habit of it and you get the hang of it, it actually goes very quickly. When I first started doing this, I think it took me about an hour to sit down and plan out my whole week. And once I figured out how it flows best for me and what I was really looking at and how I was going through this planning process, it cut it down significantly. I can go through and plan my entire week in about 15 minutes now, and it's so fast, but it takes a huge weight off my shoulders to be able to just know that I am prepared for the week ahead. So I would strongly, strongly encourage you to do this, especially if you are feeling overwhelmed. And I know if you're feeling overwhelmed, sitting down to take the time to plan out your week is going to feel a little bit luxurious. Like you're going to say, I don't have time to sit down and plan out my week. But when you're saying that, that means you could really, really benefit from sitting down and planning out your week. So I would encourage you very strongly to go ahead and do that. So, number one, your first step of the 10 steps to do a weekly planning routine to stay organized is number one, review your schedule. Number two, make sure nothing is double booked and that everything is plugged in that needs to be, including time for fun, relaxation, and personal priorities. Step number three is to determine when you will do your morning routine each morning and how much time you're going to dedicate to it each morning. Number four is to decide when you will be completing your meal planning routine. Step number 5 is when you are going to be completing your daily 7 home routine. These are 30-minute blocks that you want to plug in each day. Number 6 is your movement routine. Plug in when you are planning on getting movement. This could be morning walks. This could be your home workouts, how many times you're going to the gym, anything like that. You want to plug in when you are planning on getting your main movement or exercise in. Step number 7 is your budget routine. Plug in when you're going to be looking at your expenses, when you're going to be paying all your upcoming bills, having a conversation with your spouse to get on the same page, all that stuff is in your budget routine. So plug that into your week. Number 8 is to choose 2 or 3 priority tasks. You can either plug them in on the side and decide when you want to tackle them throughout the week, or you can actually plug in a time block in your week of when it will work best to get these things done, and make sure you only choose 2 to 3 to start, because then you're going to be more likely to actually do them. And then step number 9 is to determine next week's planning time. So look at your week, decide when it's going to work best to sit down and do this again for the week ahead once you are in your week. So plug that time in on your calendar. And then step number 10 is your final step. And that is when you want to actually do a complete final review and look, is there anything missing? Is anything else need to be changed? Do I need to do anything else in this routine? And then, if you need to, write these 10 steps down and decide as you're going through what works best for you. And then just cross some things out, make some changes as you need to make it work really well for you. If you copy this and it works great, just copying these exact 10 steps, then keep doing that. But if you need to adjust it and make some tweaks so it works better for you, do that. And then use that little cheat or that little guide, little cheat sheet, and use that every time you sit down to plan, and just go through the little steps and plan out your week, because you're going to get much quicker and it's going to be faster and it's going to just make you feel so good. So I hope that you enjoy that. I hope you absolutely love it. I hope it takes a ton of stress off of you and makes you feel really prepared and confident going into every week moving forward. Did you love that episode or learn something useful? If so, would you do me a huge favor? My goal is to grow this podcast and help as many women as I can break free from the overwhelm so they can truly enjoy their life. The best way for me to do this is for you to leave a 5-star written review on your podcast app and to share this episode with a friend or in your Instagram stories. I appreciate you being here. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I will see you on the next episode. Take care.